A single coded message, intercepted in the dead of night, hinted at a pact no one thought possible. A secret deal between the United States and Iran, two sworn enemies, forged in the shadows of 2025. Please subscribe to the channel to support what we do and help us keep digging into these hidden stories. Now let's dive in. The United States and Iran have been adversaries for decades, their enmity marked by proxy wars, economic sanctions, and heated rhetoric. Yet, behind closed doors, the calculus of survival and self-interest sometimes breeds the most unlikely alliances. In early 2025, the world's attention was elsewhere on elections, on conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza when a series of clandestine meetings began in neutral capitals. The participants, American intelligence officers and Iranian Revolutionary Guard envoys. The backdrop was chaos in Syria. Bashar al-Assad, long propped up by Tehran, had fallen. Iran's ambitions to rebuild Syria in its own image had collapsed, leaving billions of dollars and years of influence in ruins. Iran's imperial project in Syria, modeled after the U.S. Marshall Plan, was exposed when Reuters reporters found troves of documents in the looted Iranian embassy in Damascus. These revealed not only failed investments but also a desperate need for new alliances and revenue streams. At the same time, the United States was grappling with a surge in organized crime and migration at its southern border. President Trump, newly re-elected, was preparing to invoke the Alien Enemies Act to expedite mass deportations, targeting Venezuelan nationals and members of the Tren de Aragua gang. But the administration faced a dilemma. Many of the criminal networks operating in the Americas had ties to Iranian-backed groups. Intelligence suggested that Iranian operatives were facilitating illicit flows of people and goods, using the chaos to their advantage. For Iran, the loss of Syria meant a loss of strategic depth and revenue. The country was under crushing sanctions, and its regional proxies were being systematically dismantled by Israeli and U.S. strikes. In this context, Iranian officials quietly reached out to American intermediaries. The offer: actionable intelligence on transnational criminal networks in exchange for limited sanctions relief, and a guarantee of non-interference in certain Iranian economic activities elsewhere. The first meeting took place in Muscat, Oman, a city with a long history of hosting secret talks. The American delegation was led by a senior CIA officer. The Iranians sent a Revolutionary Guard general known for his pragmatism. Both sides came prepared to deny everything. The Americans insisted on strict compartmentalization, no official record, no leaks. The Iranians demanded plausible deniability, fearing blowback from hardliners in Tehran. The initial talks were tense. The Americans pressed for names, routes, and financial channels used by the Tren de Aragua and other syndicates. The Iranians, in turn, sought relief from the most punishing U.S. sanctions on their banking sector. As negotiations progressed, a chilling realization dawned on both sides. Their interests, for the moment, were aligned. The U.S. wanted to cripple the criminal networks destabilizing its borders. Iran needed hard currency and a respite from international isolation. Through a series of encrypted exchanges, the outlines of the deal took shape. Iran would provide detailed intelligence on criminal syndicates operating in the Western Hemisphere, including those with links to Hezbollah and Venezuelan cartels. In return, the U.S. would quietly unfreeze a portion of Iranian assets held abroad and ease restrictions on humanitarian imports, food, medicine, and essential goods. The arrangement would be strictly time-limited and subject to renewal based on results. To maintain secrecy, both sides agreed to use third-country intermediaries for all transfers and communications. Switzerland and Oman played key roles, hosting encrypted servers and facilitating financial transactions. The first fruits of the deal were immediate. Within weeks, U.S. authorities arrested several high-ranking members of the Tren de Aragua in Miami and Houston, seizing millions in illicit funds and disrupting trafficking routes. American officials publicly credited enhanced intelligence cooperation with regional partners. But behind the scenes, the Iranians watched closely as their information paid off. For Iran, the modest sanctions relief provided a lifeline. Humanitarian shipments began arriving in Iranian ports, easing shortages and buying the regime precious time amid mounting domestic unrest. The deal was not without risks. Hardliners in both countries would be furious if the arrangement became public. The U.S. Congress, already skeptical of any engagement with Iran, would likely launch investigations. Iranian officials, too, faced scrutiny from within the Revolutionary Guard. Some saw the deal as a betrayal of the regime's anti-American ideology. Others viewed it as a necessary tactical retreat. To further protect the secret, both sides established a system of deniable assets, trusted intermediaries who could be disavowed if word leaked. These included retired diplomats, intelligence contractors, and businesspeople with ties to both Washington and Tehran. The arrangement was also tested by events on the ground. In April 2025, an Israeli airstrike flattened the Iranian consulate in Damascus, killing several IRGC officers and raising tensions in the region. Despite the escalation, the secret channel remained open. Both sides recognized that the benefits of cooperation outweighed the risks, at least for now. In Washington, the Trump administration quietly accelerated its deportation program, using intelligence gleaned from the Iranian dossiers to target specific individuals and networks. The public rationale remained focused on law and order, but the real story was far more complex: a convergence of interests between two bitter enemies, each seeking advantage in a rapidly changing world. Iran, for its part, used the breathing room to regroup. With the fall of Assad and the loss of Syria, Tehran shifted its focus to economic survival and internal stability, leveraging the U.S. deal to shore up its position at home. The U.S., meanwhile, touted its success in dismantling criminal networks, while keeping the true source of its intelligence a closely guarded secret. As the months passed, the arrangement deepened. Iran began feeding information on other networks: arms traffickers, money launderers, and cybercriminals, many of whom operated in the gray zones between state and non-state actors. American analysts marveled at the detail and accuracy of the Iranian intelligence. Some suspected a trap. Others saw an opportunity to turn a longtime adversary into a reluctant partner. The secret deal also had ripple effects beyond the immediate participants. Regional powers like Saudi Arabia and Israel grew suspicious of the sudden effectiveness of U.S. law enforcement efforts against Iranian proxies. Rumors began to circulate in diplomatic circles. Why had the U.S. eased certain sanctions just as Iran's economy seemed on the brink? Why were key cartel leaders suddenly being rounded up with unprecedented speed? Inside the U.S. government, only a handful of officials were read into the full scope of the arrangement. The National Security Council maintained strict operational security, fearing leaks and political backlash. In Tehran, the Supreme National Security Council monitored the deal's progress, weighing the benefits against the ever-present risk of exposure. Both sides established backchannels for crisis management. In the event of a leak or diplomatic incident, trusted intermediaries would coordinate a rapid response, including plausible denials and disinformation campaigns. The arrangement was not without its moral ambiguities. American officials wrestled with the ethics of partnering, however indirectly, with a regime accused of human rights abuses and regional aggression. Iranian officials, too, faced uncomfortable questions about collaborating with the Great Satan, even for pragmatic reasons. Yet, in the world of realpolitik, necessity often trumps ideology. As one senior U.S. official put it, "We don't have to like each other to do business when our interests align." The deal also highlighted the changing nature of international relations in the 21st century. Old alliances and enmities were being reshaped by new threats: transnational crime, cyber warfare, and the collapse of traditional state structures. For the U.S., the arrangement offered a template for future engagement with adversaries. For Iran, it provided a model for leveraging intelligence as a bargaining chip in a hostile world. By late 2025, both sides had begun to institutionalize the arrangement. Joint task forces, operating under deep cover, coordinated the flow of information and monitored compliance. The success of the deal emboldened some in Washington to consider broader engagement with Iran, though political realities made any public rapprochement impossible. In Tehran, pragmatists argued that the arrangement should be expanded, while hardliners warned of creeping dependence on the U.S. The secret deal also had unintended consequences. As criminal networks were disrupted, some shifted their operations to other regions, creating new challenges for both countries. Meanwhile, the humanitarian relief reaching Iran helped stabilize the regime, but also fueled resentment among those who saw the government as trading away sovereignty for survival. The arrangement remained fragile, vulnerable to leaks, political shifts, and unforeseen crises. Yet, for a brief moment, two enemies found common cause in the shadows. As 2025 drew to a close, the world remained unaware of the secret pact that had quietly reshaped the balance of power in the Middle East and the Americas. The story of the secret deal between the United States and Iran is a reminder that in geopolitics, yesterday's enemies can become today's partners if only for a moment, and only in the dark. In the end, the deal was a testament to the power of necessity and the enduring logic of self-interest, even among the most bitter of foes. The full consequences of the arrangement remain to be seen. For now, it stands as one of the most remarkable and least known episodes in the long and troubled history of U.S.-Iranian relations. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more stories they don't want you to know.